Karen from Davies Sugarcraft. Welcome to Cake Flicks Mould Magic Part 5. Today I'm going to show you our dinosaur cookie mould and how to make a really lovely, quick, easy, simple cake for a child's birthday. Now dinosaurs aren't just for boys, we've got some nice girl cakes as well to show you. This is the mould, okay, show you here. If we just zoom in there, you can see there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dinosaurs. Now I'll try and tell you their names. I just need the leaflet to read them out to make sure I don't miss any. We have a T-Rex, a Triceratops, a Pterodactyl, and a Stegosaurus mother and baby, and some bones, little bones on there as well. Okay, so it's so easy to use. What I'm going to do first is just show you quickly a similar cake. There's a little bit more to this one. This is a 2-tier. Today I'm just going to show you a 1-tier. We're going to have a volcano on the top, all the dinosaurs, and some lovely green leaves, foliage to go on it. Okay, so shall I start with the volcano, because you need the volcano to dry. The first thing I need to do is make a template, a pattern to cut out the volcano. Okay, now it's just a circle. I just used a bowl to cut out the circle, cut it in half, and I cut out the half circle there in the middle, because this is going to fold round and overlap, okay, like this. So you will stick that together when you've cut out your volcano. Okay, so it is quite a large overlap there, so I'm thinking really I could still cut a little piece off here as well so I don't need it quite as big. So we have some paste. Let's just get the paste out. Now I've coloured flour paste for this because I want it to dry quickly and nice and hard and strong. Okay, so I've coloured it with a little bit of black to get the grey. I'm just going to put some corn flour on the worktop and on the paste so it doesn't stick, and start to roll out for the half circle. And as you roll, just make sure it's not sticking down to your worktop. Okay, and then try it for size. So I just need to roll slightly more on the width. Okay. And it should be ready, yeah, to cut out. Okay, it just feels slightly thick actually. I'll just roll it a little bit more. And there we go. You just keep this very, very simple and easy to do. So we put the pattern on top. And like I said, I am going to cut a little piece off this. I just think it's slightly too big. And take it round. Just like so, around here. Okay, and I've got the template already prepared that I've stuck together earlier, so I know this is too big, so I'll show you. If I wrap that round now, see it does overlap quite a lot there, so I'm just going to cut off a little wedge across here. And then I've got some edible glue. So if I just put the glue down the edge and out there, okay. So it's just gone a little bit wider at the bottom because I know it's going to overlap across that way. So we just wrap that round and over. Just push those edges together there. I've gone a bit too much, I think. Cut a little bit too much off. That's fine. Okay, so that can just sit on the paper and dry. Somewhere warm and dry, okay, till later. So I'll put that to one side and then I'll start with the cake. Now I'm actually going to cover a dummy today on the video, just to make, just so things were a little easier for me today. What I'm going to do is just cover the top first of all with some green. What I'm going to do is use the mould for the sides as well. I'm going to use our Woodland bark mould. Now the Woodland bark is great for doing sides of cakes, not just dinosaur cakes. It's really good for wedding cakes, you know, woodland themed wedding cakes, anything like that. I just need a little bit of icing sugar here. A little bit, it came out a little bit too fast there. I think I've only just refilled that shaker, the sugar shaker. That's why a lot seemed to come out then. I wasn't ready for that. So there we go, we're nearly there. That should be just about big enough. I want it quite thin. Okay, and that's ready to go on top of the dummy. So just lay that on, just smooth it over. Now, a really easy grass effect that I like to do is using a scrubbing brush. Okay, these are quite cheap, and all you do is just press firmly onto the top of the cake. Just gives you a little bit of texture. Okay, that's enough, I think. You can actually, if you want to, you can twist it a little bit as well. You see the difference that makes? Makes more of an impression as you go as well. And I'm going to do this on the board as well. Now the Volcano will be in the middle, so I don't need to emboss it too much in the middle. I've just got some scissors and I'm just going to carefully trim off around the sides like this. So don't forget, this should be cake with buttercream on. Let's see, that's it, nearly there. And it's great this, if you're not confident or happy with your cake covering, you know, putting your sugar paste on your cake all in one piece and getting a lovely neat finish, decorating cakes like this is so good because you know, you're just doing that one easy piece and then you're doing your sides separately. So I'm going to do the board now as well, put some paste on the board. So you can just put some water or edible glue onto your cake board. Just spread that round and that will do. And I'll just take that to one side for a minute. Now the sugar paste, what I'm going to do is just roll out a sausage of paste. Again, I'll be careful this time with the icing sugar, not too much. I do like to work on some icing sugar. You see some cake decorators who are really good at not using icing sugar, not using much at all. That's not me. I can't do it. Everything seems to stick with me. So I'm just rolling that out into a long strip. You see, I'm trying to keep it curved as well to go around the cake. I'm just going to move these cookies over a little bit. I'll show you those later. So just start to roll out. Again, you don't want lots and lots of paste. You know, you don't want to waste a lot of paste on your cake board. Now, what I do now, I just make sure it's not going to stick to the worktop or anything. Just make sure there's a light dusting of icing sugar on it. And then I take a large rolling pin and I roll across this way and then across this way. What that does is make sure it's nice and even. You know, it's not going to be uneven anywhere. So that's ready to go onto your cake or your cake board. I forgot to mention, by the way, when I put a dummy on a cake board, I use nails. I nail it on to secure it. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that down. I should have put it more around that way so you can see it. Normally I would trim that straight, but I don't need to because by the time I put the woodland bark on, it's not going to be seen. Now I'm going to emboss it same as I've done on the top. So you can see here it's just slightly short. It doesn't matter because the icing, the sugar paste will spread as I emboss with the brush. So again, we take the brush and start to bash that away there. Okay. Just make sure it goes to the edge And it's great there where it's joined. I've just overlapped the paste and then just hit it with the brush and it disguises the join. This is also a good effect for snow. It's really good for snow when you want a little bit of texture on it, and for other fabrics, you know, fluffy fabrics and things. It's a nice, quick, easy way and a nice cheap tool. So now I just need to trim off this edge here. So just see if I've got a palette knife. When I trim boards as well, another tip, if you do this, you know, there's not much paste there, but if there's a lot and it's a bit heavy, you don't want it to drag the paste off the board. So if you do that, it cuts off in little bits then, in little pieces. There's not much extra on here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We're okay there with that. And that's it. So there we go. We've got a nice, easy covered top and board. The next stage we'll be doing the sides. So I'm going to mould one piece, before we do the ad break, I'm going to mould one piece of the woodland bark to show you, and then we'll come back and decorate it. So if I just put that to one side. This is the woodland bark mould, okay. We've also got a birch mould, which is really nice, but today I'm going to use this one. So I've put corn flour into the mould. Always use corn flour. It will stop the paste sticking. Some people use Trex in moulds. I won't use Trex because if I put Trex in there now, Trex is white vegetable fat, if any of you aren't sure. If I do that, what I want to do, when I take this paste out, I want to be able to dust and colour it straight away. So if there's Trex on it, you know, there's a light covering of grease, powder colours aren't going to look very good at all. So that's why I always use corn flour. So I've started to roll the paste out so it's easy to roll into the mould. Okay, so we pop that in, just start it off in the corners and then take a small rolling pin and press very firmly and roll into the mould. This is my own sugar paste and it works perfectly in the moulds. If you haven't got ours, you need to add Tylo or CMC to your paste so it works. It's about 1 teaspoon to 225 grams. That's a 5 ml teaspoon. So I'm just making sure I've got it thin enough there. Sometimes when I talk, I'm not concentrating. Right, that's ready to come out. Okay, so I'll just turn that over. You don't have to worry about the paste going over the edges, and you peel the mould off and take your cutting wheel and trim away the paste at the sides, any over you've got at the edges. Okay, so there's your woodland bark. Okay, so we're going to go to an ad break now, and when we come back I'll be showing you how to put it on the cake and how to colour it with your powder colours. Welcome back. We've just moulded the woodland bark. Okay, so now I'm ready to colour it. Now I made one earlier, and what I did, I put it into a polythene bag. This you can do when you're doing a cake like this. You can do these in advance, keep them in polythene, and they will still be nice and soft to put around your cake when you are ready. Okay, so we take that out of the bag. There we go, you can see the colour that I've put on. So I'm going to start with this one now, try and get it to look the same as the one I did earlier, which isn't always easy, is it? So I've got some brown powder colour. What you do with your powder colours, as you pick it up on the brush, dab it into the lid, then rub it on your paper. I mean, I do want quite a lot of colour here to put onto this, so I'm probably using a little bit more than I would normally. When you're doing flowers and you want it really delicate, always do this, brush it onto your paper, make sure there's no loose powder. But here with a piece of bark, it's different really, you need more colour. So I'm concentrating on see the cracks in the bark, the deeper parts of it. I'll turn that round now so it's closer to the camera as well. Okay, so we go into the deeper areas there. Put plenty of colour on. Okay, so when you are happy with your brown, there's no right or wrong way for a lot of these things, is it? It's how you interpret the colours and how you want it to look. I like to go across this way as well, just to catch all that detail nicely. Get the cornflower off, anywhere you can see any cornflower. That helps remove it as well. So you do this, and then I always think it's nice to have a little bit of green on it as well. It looks like moss, a bit of moss growing on the tree. So just randomly around, wherever you wish. Sometimes these things you don't know when to stop. I don't know when to stop anyway. You sort of keep going, and you have to force yourself to stop. You can also, if you want it really dark, you can also mix like a tiny little bit of black in with the brown to get a really deep dark colour in there. Okay, so we're nearly done. And then if you want to, you can highlight a little bit. I'm just going to lighten that yellow so it's a creamy white. It's toned down with the brush as well. Still need a little bit more, I think. So you can go anywhere, the more raised bark. Just go over it to highlight it a little bit. Bring it out. Now these colours do look slightly, no, I think it's just that one's slightly darker, so I still need to work on that a little bit more, put a little bit more brown on. I can do it when it's on the cake, but you don't want to have any accidents, any powder dropping on your board really, so it's better to make sure you're happy with it now before it goes on. And that will do for now. Okay, I'm going to put these on the cake now. Now what you need to do, use your imagination. It's a buttercreamed cake, okay? It's not a cake dummy. You're imagining it's a cake dummy. It's a buttercreamed cake. So what I want to do is just check the size first of all. Now that's only a couple of millimetres. If I put it at the back there, you'll see that I can press that down a little bit. That's fine. But if it's quite a big difference, trim it off. So because you've got fresh buttercream on there, you can just attach that around the sides. And then just gently push it down a little. I'm going to put the other piece on now as well, because I'll show you how to disguise the join. When they're joined together, make sure they're pushed together tightly, okay? There's no gap or anything. And again, push it down a little at the top. Sometimes if you've done a crumb coat and your cake's been in the fridge, you then need to do a soft coat of buttercream so the paste will stick to it. Okay, then you need a Dresden tool, which is this tool here. And what you're going to do is try and disguise this join just by pressing it with the Dresden tool, pushing that edge together and across. And it will really sort of disappear. Now that has gone a little bit lighter, so you can guess what I'm going to do next. Get some of the colour rubbed well into the brush and go over to disguise it, even with a little bit of green as well, anything just to take that edge away. Okay, I could spend a little bit longer, but because this is sort of a quick video, and I'm just going to press in the top there with the tool, bring that over so you can see it a little better, just quickly around the top. Okay, there we go. And then this side as well. Don't worry about it being perfectly even or anything. It's better if it's irregular. Let's quickly do that. Okay, so we need one more piece at the back there, and then that would be your cake finished. So you know, you can understand now what I was saying, you know, if you worry about covering a cake, how much easier it is to actually do that rather than trying to cover it, you know, in separate pieces, in one big piece and everything. So that's okay there. So the one thing I forgot to show you before, I meant to do earlier to leave to dry, was these little pieces of lava for the volcano. When I put out the volcano, I should have made a few of these and just left them to dry. You might want to put some Tylo CMC in your paste. So you just roll a ball, point and shape it. I've got a little bit of brown powder colour on my hands there, so okay, and you just leave that to dry on a sponge pad. Okay, so that's what I should have shown you earlier on, because putting the volcano on is another job, and you'd be sorry if you haven't got those at the end. You know, when you forget these things, it is annoying, isn't it? So the next thing I'm going to do is mould some leaves, to show you some leaves. Now the mould I've got to go with this is the tropical leaf mould, and I'm only going to use this one here, the monstera leaf, and this fern leaf here. So if I just slide this out of the way a little bit here and show you this. Now I need some green paste. This is our paste, and I've coloured it with khaki. This one is khaki. It sounds like khaki, not the car keys. And then this is the green for the monstera, which is spruce green. So if I make this one first, I'll just put some corn flour in. That's a very thin, flat leaf. So don't be tempted to just put a ball in and press. Flatten the paste out first, okay? So that makes it easy for you to work with. Now, because it's so shallow, it will come out on your fingers very easily if you're sticky or hot. So make sure you have a little corn flour on the back of the paste as you work it in. I'm going to add a little bit more there. Now you can feel with your fingers, you can feel where the holes are in the leaf and the splits and the little tears that give it that shape and character. So you just work it down and then into each little point, every little nook and cranny, as they say. And that's nearly ready to come out. So I just want to make sure the edges are clean. You see, that's okay. And it doesn't matter too much about the stem. You won't really see the stem. So that's ready to come out. You just turn it over. It fell out, to be honest. It just fell out, that one. Okay, if there are any bits you can see that shouldn't be there, you know, if you've got, you can just do this with your Dresden tool, tidy it up. But that one's pretty good. That's okay. And then you can leave that to one side. I'll show you how to colour it in a minute. Is I'm going to show you the fern leaf now. Now this looks pretty horrendous, but you know, it's easier than this one. I just think it's a bit deceiving. Now, depending on what size paste you put in, depends what size leaf you get, obviously. So if I want, this will be a pretty big leaf. I just roll a ball, point it, flatten it, and then put the paste onto the leaf. And again, like before, put corn flour on the back and then start to press in, because you don't want it to be sticky at all, because you know, you've seen how easily they come out. If you're sticky, the leaf will just lift out on your fingers before you want it to come out. So there you go, that's ready. And again, you can just peel it off the mould, really. You just take it off like that, and there's your fern leaf. Okay. Now, you can do whatever size, like I said, whatever size you want. So if you take a tiny little piece of paste, point it, flatten it, put it in, Make sure you're not sticky. Sometimes, rather than pat the cornflour on here all the time, I'll pat my fingers or pick it up from the table. Sometimes it builds up on the table, so I just use that on my fingers. There we are. That's ready to come out. I'll just take that out. Okay. So there's your nice little leaf. Now I'm going to put them over here. I'll move that out the way. So you just carry on making those until you've got as many as you need or want, whatever. So if I pop these onto this paper and move them over so you can see, I'll just put some powder colour on. Now this one, this green, it's moss green, fractal moss green. So I'm going to use this one on the fern leaf. So you see I've just gone straight up the middle and then brushed any cornflour off the leaf. And the same with this one here, the tiny one. And powder into the middle and then brush off the leaves. And that's all you need to do with that one. And then we've got this one here, which was the autumn green, rainbow dust autumn green. And again, go for the stem in the middle. And then I like to go for the holes in the leaf as well. I think that gives it a nice shading. And then the edges all around the leaf. And then just finish by brushing off any cornflour. And that's all you need to do, okay? I mean, these cakes, when you're doing cakes very quickly, and the children's cakes, you don't even really need to do that. Just brush the cornflour off. Sometimes I think it depends how much they're paying you for the cake, how much you do carry on doing all these things, doing the colouring and everything. So I've got some that I've made earlier. I'll just bring it over to show you. Ooh. There we are. Now these little ones here, I've sort of hung over the edge of the foam pad. I just broke that one before picking it up. So yeah, if you just hang them over the pad like that, when they go on the cake, they look nice, having that little bit of shape. Okay, so I've just got some dinosaur bones here that I'll show you in a minute. Now this here, this grass, I've made using the fern leaf, and I've just cut it straight down the middle and then chopped it up into different sized pieces, which I'm going to use for finishing off later on. Okay, so I think we'll go to the ad break now before we start the next piece, which is the dinosaurs.
Aye rascals, I am Kelly McWilliams, sugar artist, and on today's tutorial we are going to be making this guy, my awesome mushroom man. So guys, as you can see, we have an absolute ton of stuff to learn. We're going to be learning how to make a basic structure to support your cake, a little bit of cake carving and Rice Krispie work. We have an absolute ton of modelling in this one, from sculpting a face to realistic hands and feet, how to make this mushroom head, and we have a load to do, so let's get started.
Hi, welcome back. I'm going to mould dinosaurs now, show you how to mould the dinosaurs. So we'll do this nice big one here so it's nice and clear and easy to see. So of course, corn flour into the mould, tap it out so there's not too much, and then start to put the paste in. So I think that's a little bit big. So because it's a large flattish sort of shape, I've just made sure the paste is nice and smooth underneath, and then I flatten it out before I put it in, so it's easy to work the paste in. Never just put a ball of paste into your mould. Okay, just try and think of the shape you need to help you start to press the paste in easily. So there we are, we'll just start to work that up. Now obviously it's too much in there. And what you can do, if you find you've got a lot of paste down here, you don't want to be trying to push it off in one direction. You can just take it off, wherever there's too much, rather than trying to get it all off in one place. Now that head is a little bit shallow there, so I'm just going to press a little bit more down into there. And then I can take this excess off. And all I do is just push it and pinch it So there's a tiny little area there to just take it off with my thumb. You don't need to use a knife or anything. Okay, just use your thumb. So that's ready to come out now. Okay, we just turn it over and she should fall out, and she has, yes. Okay. So now we'll start to colour her. So just lay her on the piece of kitchen paper, and I want a pink, quite a large pink brush for the cheeks. And if I just rub that into the lid, there's enough colour on there to just brush a nice gentle colour, you see there, just onto her cheek. And then I want a smaller brush, a small pink brush for her nostrils. So just into there, that one. Okay, that's better, that's okay. And then paint her eyes. So we want white, and I use alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, because it will dry very quickly. You can use water, but obviously you've got to wait for it to dry before you paint on her pupils. Okay. So hold your breath when you paint. I suddenly realise I'm not breathing, trying to keep still and steady. Okay, so now I want a small brush for her eyes. Again, a drop of alcohol. I always use the lid to mix the alcohol and the powder, because then when it's dry, you can just reuse it. So that dries so quickly. You hardly get time to paint with it. We are. Okay, now that is quite a thin, fine brush. What I want to do is paint a very fine line for the edge of the eye and eyelashes. So I do use water when I want to paint very fine lines. And you see, you can either, the eyelashes can either go that way, the way she's looking, or out this way. So I think I'll go across like that and out that way. And I only ever do 2 or 3 eyelashes. Never try and do, 4 or 5 even. Just, it's tempting fate, isn't it, to go wrong. And then I'm going to put a little line underneath, like that. Because I always think this one's the mummy dinosaur. Oh, I went in the wrong thing then. I used the lid instead of the palette. Because she's the mummy dinosaur, she can have little eyelashes underneath as well. I'm just going to bring that in there so you can see it. It's pretty warm in here, so it is drying. Even the water is drying quickly. That'll do. Okay, and of course, little eyebrows. She always looks better if you put little eyebrows on. And then to finish off her eyes, what you need to do is just take some white and a fine brush and just paint a dot of white into each eye, and that really brings her to life and makes her very cute. Then we want to brush some colour onto her. So it's up to you what you do. You can, if you want to just do a soft colour, you just brush it on dry like this. Or if you want a more solid, deeper colour, you paint it on. You mix it with alcohol or water and paint it on. So there we're just doing this. She's got like spikes, or what would you call these? Not scales, are they? Spikes down her back, one on her head. And then you can do sort of spots or a little bit of shading on her back. Like this. Or paint them on, like I say. Paint them on if you wish. And so she's not just one colour, a little bit green. And I've just used the same brush because it's sort of nice if the colours sort of mix together. And I forgot, she's got little toenails there on her feet, hasn't she? We just need to paint them white. So I just look for, I don't know where I put the brush, I just put away. So I just quickly catch these little toenails. I think there's 3 on each foot. Yeah, it is going dry quick. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, a little bit more. 3. there we go. So there's our mummy dinosaur. Okay, now I've got some others that I've made earlier, painted in earlier. There we go. I'll bring the whole set over so you can see them all. The baby one is very cute. There's the baby. You can actually put different colour pastes in to the mould. So, you know, because it's tricky sometimes painting white over to get a decent sort of colour. So that's the set that I'm going to use to put onto the cake. So now I'm going to put the volcano on, first of all, before we start to put anything else on. So I've got some royal icing here that I've coloured green. My piping bag. Just fold that up, put the nozzle in. And it's a size 3 nozzle, I think, this one. Move that out of the way. Now, well, usually I have to rip a piece of paper off the bottom, but that's okay. Now I'll take out the former, the piece of card that I made earlier, and I'm just going to pipe some icing just roughly around the bottom of the volcano. Bring the cake back in and aim for the centre. That'll do nicely. There we go. So it doesn't matter that you can see, you know, that little bit of icing there. We're going to trim, put some little trims on, some leaves. You know, by the time the dinosaurs go on and everything, you're not really going to see that much. Now, another thing I'm going to do, you can do for this, you can fill your volcano with some sweets for the lucky, excuse me, cameraman. Yeah, you can fill it with sweets if there's any left by the time your husband pinches them. Anyway, you'd carry on filling that up. And then to finish off the volcano at the top, you need your lava. So I've just got a piece of sugar paste, and all I'm going to do is just make that, knead it, make it nice and smooth. Okay, nice and smooth. And then start to pull out some drips. You want some long and thin, short and fat, whatever, you know. I'm trying to do this very quickly. There we go, just round and round. I want to keep the middle quite thick because remember the lava sort of drips or splashes that are coming out of the top? They are going to stick into this. So you want a bit of support there with that one. If there's a bad gap at the back, like you see here, when you put this on, you aim to cover that and have a drip covering as much as you can, and then you would have a leaf hiding that as well. Okay, so if I just carry on pinching out these drips before attaching to the cake, nice and thin, and do some longer than others. Okay, that will do for now. And then we put the green icing again just up here. Put that over. We just need to make sure it's down onto the volcano. Okay, there we are. And then your drips that you made before, they're not drips, are they? What do you call them? Just put a tiny little bit of glue on the end. If you're worried they're not quite set, make a hole first before you put them in, okay? I'm trying to put some straight ones coming up out the top. I can't see what they're going to look like from the front. So, and these are all different sizes. Some are big, some are small. Do them however you want. And they don't all have to be, you know, right up. Some can be sort of really falling over. There we go. And we're going to get ready now to go to the ad break while I carry on doing this. And when we come back, we'll be assembling the leaves, the dinosaurs, and finishing off and showing you some other quick ideas with the dinosaur mould. Hi, welcome back. I've just put a few little stones on the volcano here, some stones or rocks. So just a little bit of glue and just a little piece of paste. Just flatten and attach, just randomly, different sizes, just around the volcano, just to give it a little bit more interest. Okay, so now I'm going to think about where I'm putting everything. I want the baby to be at the front, the baby in the egg, but want him to be in a nest, as though he's sort of in a nest of leaves. So I'm going to start to put some leaves just around that area there. So we'll bring the leaves back in, back over, all wanting to fall off the pad. So I think the fern leaves are probably the best to use for the nest. So if I get the royal icing and just put some on the floor like this on the ground, and then maybe some at the side of the cake as well. Let's see, that one might be a little bit big, so I'm just going to take some off there because I think that's too long. So just take some off and then put that on, because you won't see that little bit there. So maybe another one or two. Okay, we'll pop him onto there. So just put some icing behind him. And just put him there. So of course his mum should be near him, shouldn't she? I'm going to just put some grass maybe in the background. There's his mum. Yeah, she would be about here. So I'm just going to put a small piece actually. I don't need a big piece of grass. Just on that edge. And then pop his mum next to him. Oops, there we are. Okay, so we're starting to get the effect that we want now. I'll just put another piece of grass here. Right down to the board. Okay, so I'm going to think now about the other dinosaurs. We've got this fellow here. He could be looking at the new baby. So I'm just going to put the royal icing onto him there. As I'm building this up with the leaves and everything, there's some other pieces that I didn't mould actually. I can show you quickly. The bones, I've got some bones there. So on the mould you've got a large bone and a small bone. You can see them both there, and they're very, very easy. Just put your corn flour in, your piece of paste. Just take it to the end, take the excess off. And then just turn the mould over, pull it back, and a little flick helps that come out. Because they're only light, they're not heavy. Sometimes you think they're stuck in the mould and they're not. It's just that there's no weight on them to help them to fall out of the mould. Right, this mould here, this is the wild meadow. Now this is good. I was going to use this for the grass here, but I thought because I had the tropical leaves, I'd use that. Now on here we've got gypsophilia, some little tiny gypsophilia flowers. Now you can put the size in the same size, get that flower, okay, just bend the mould, take it out, and there's your little flower. Or you can put a tiny piece of paste in and make a smaller flower. So you see, you do that. If you can't press it in with your finger, use a bone tool or a ball tool and then turn that out and you've got a little tiny flower. So if I've got more time at the end, I'll make some more of those, but they would look nice dotted around with the leaves as well. So these leaves are still a little bit soft, which is quite nice. So it's easy to attach them to the cake. So we'll just put a nice big leaf coming out there behind, and maybe one the other side behind Mummy Dinosaur. There we are. And just attach wherever you need a little bit of icing. Just put a little bit more on. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. I'm going to build up some around the volcano as well, so I don't run out too soon. And then I can go back and put some more on the bottom there. So we'll just put some grass on here. And it's nice to do some thin, some thick, put the different sizes on. Oops, I've just broke that because it's a little bit dry, but it doesn't matter. Just put the broken piece in. And then another piece this side. And the two sides here as well. Okay, now we've got the T-Rex, the big T-Rex, and I think he needs to sort of stand up here at the edge. So I'm going to put some leaves maybe behind him as well, just to give him a bit of support at the back. So we can have them going. They look nice coming over the edge of the cake as well, but when you do things like that, always make sure your cake board is big enough as well. You're not going to knock the leaves. Okay. And then we can have some coming up from there as well. And sometimes when you press things on, when you want to secure things, use things like your Dresden tool or a bone tool rather than your finger, you know, so you don't flatten them down or anything. Let's see. Yeah, we could have another one maybe. I'm going to just break some of that off again because they're so big. Some of these, and they're nice when they hang. That's still soft. That's the one I made earlier, so it's nice that it's going to just fall over there. You could prop it up with something behind it until it's dry if you want to, because that one hasn't quite set. Okay, and then our T-Rex, I'm just going to put a little bit of green icing under his feet, put him on there and press, and that should stay. Now I'm not happy that you can see the green, so we'll just add a few more leaves. Just tuck them on, as though he's trampling over them. And that will tuck in there. Okay. Now, what was the name of the flying one?
Pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl, that's it. Now, what I should have done, I meant to put a lollipop stick in this. So instead I've got a cookie. This is the pterodactyl cookie. So quickly I'll show you, with every cookie mould, you know, the dinosaurs are part of the cookie range. This recipe you get with each mould in the Cookie Craft range.
Shaking it up and down.
Sorry. Not no good is it showing you like this. Yeah, so this is the recipe that you get for the cookies. Okay, so I've got a stick in this one, in the pterodactyl, and he is going to go into the top of the volcano and hopefully stay up there flying. Okay, so have I missed anybody off? No, that's all the dinosaurs on. So we can carry on now making it pretty with more leaves. So we'll have maybe another leaf or two up here. What I meant to say before as well with the bones, it's nice to do a number. I'll show you on the cake at the end when I'm showing you that you can make a number with the bones. I'm just going to add these leaves wherever I think they can go. Seeing I've got them, I'll use them. There we are. This looks nice actually for the nest, as though he's sat and squashed little leaves there. Okay, maybe that one can just go in the side over here. Yeah, there we go. So that's him finished off. So yeah, it does look nice now if you put some bones on. We want more leaves, don't we? Let's do another leaf or two. One there. Let's have another one here. By Mummy. I'm going to take that stem off. And then you could, of course, put the flowers on wherever you want some flowers. Just gives it a bit of colour, doesn't it? Yeah, I definitely need to add a few more flowers on there, I think. So I'll put some bones on now. Just randomly around the cake. But this is such a quick and easy cake to do. It's great that you can have matching cookies as well. It always looks nice. You could even cross them over, you know, put them, do a little pile of bones. That would look good. There we are. Getting there. And I've also somewhere, oh yeah, I've got some little pebbles here. So if you just brush somewhere with some glue, wherever you think you want a few. And then you can just put them on to the cake. Just some little stones. These are just rolled up little balls of paste that, you know, when you've got greys, browns, orange, any paste left over. I can't see where I put the glue now. Oh, some here, I think. It's great to just do some of these. They're just so handy to use for things like this. Just scatter them around. Okay, so that is it really. You know, you can go on forever, like I say, you can add more and more to it, but the other thing is, it depends how much they're paying you for the cake, of course. Never forget that when you're doing your work. Okay, right, so I'll show you the other cakes very quickly, give you a quick talk through very, very quickly. This is another version here where the cake is just completely covered in leaves, so that is great. You know, again, if you're worried about your cake covering, all the moulds I've used you'll find on our website, www.karendaviessugarcraft.co.uk. So you'll find everything there. Now I'll pick up this board to show you what I was saying before. You know, dinosaurs aren't just for boys. They're great for girls' cakes. Now here, pretty, really pretty dinosaurs. This one's my favourite here. I did mean to do a cake with that on. These are great for cake tops, you know, big cookies. They're quite big cookies, but some of the small one in the middle would make a lovely little cookie. So there's lots of different things. They're all using our moulds. And then another board here. Again, this is the boy version. They are more cookie sized actually than the girls board. You see there all the tropical leaves, all the little dinosaurs. And there's so many possibilities for painting them and colouring them. You can do so much with them. And then we've got another very quick cake here. That's quicker probably than the cake I've just done, of course. Only one dinosaur on that one. Okay, and there you can see the wild meadow. That's the bigger, the grass effect, which is really good. And on this cake, again, you can see that what I was saying before about the bones and putting them into the number. You can put them into the number, the child's age. There's lots of little flowers on that one. That is a more girly sort of cake or baby. It'd be nice for a baby shower as well, a mum and baby. You could do that for a baby shower. And then we've got this cake, really deep burgundy. That looks really nice, doesn't it? Very effective. And that really is a similar cake to the pale pretty one next to it. So there's so many different effects. And then finally at the back there, we've got the cookies. You can see the dinosaur cookies. And they are great. Another, you know, to accompany your cake, another idea you can do with them. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for episode 6. Thank you.